Or food bought from the grocery store. But do you know but do you know what you're really putting into your body? Many of you didn't know that most of today's food contains some sort of corn-based product. According to the Center for Food Safety, more than 70% of processed foods in the U.S. grocery stores contain genetically modified ingredients, mostly corn or soy. The USDA also published on their website that more than 85% of corn in the U.S. was genetically modified in 2009. Ever since I watched a documentary called Food Inc., which showed the negative effects of how corn is grown and other types of food that is marketed, I have noticed that a majority of processed food sold in stores has corn in it. In the documentary, a company called Monsanto, which produces genetically modified seeds, was never there to be interviewed. Companies like Monsanto can conduct their own research, but under current U.S. law, they don't have to make their studies public. Countries like Germany and France banned corn Monsanto makes. Today, I'd like to persuade you that these genetically modified products are creating problems that are quite serious. Granted, that genetically modified food can help to grow more crops and reduce the cost of all these products, but it's also contributing to problems that I will explain in a bit. I'll explain how bad it is for the environment and the health problems it can cause. Then I'll propose some solutions to the problems that genetically modified foods create. Now let me tell you about the problems of genetically modified food. Research has found out that genetically modified food is dangerous to the environment since more fertilizer is used to grow more crops. More fertilizer is used because more corn can be grown due to the modifications, but it also releases toxins into nearby streams and rivers. Emma Rose Marshall from the Carey Institute of Ecosystem Studies in Millbrook, New York, said that genetically modified corn is releasing a toxic bacterial gene called Cry180 into the environment. She's also found out in her research that the bacterial protein can be washed into nearby streams up to 500 meters away. The gene that is inserted to make the corn more resistant to pests is also harming other organisms. The gene inserted is called, and excuse me if I pronounce this wrong, but Bacillus thuringiensis, which makes up the toxic protein Cry180. It is then referred to as BT corn. Pollen from BT corn has caused high mortality rates in monarch butterflies. Pollen from BT corn is blown onto milkweed, the caterpillar's main source of food, and then these caterpillars can die from eating the toxic protein that is blown onto these milkweed plants. There are other instances where BT corn has killed other species of insect larvae, but not intended to. The modifications does its jobs of repelling pests, but it also has negative effects. Thus, obviously, is an issue that needs to be addressed, since affecting our water resources and killing insects that are not pests, but that's not the only thing it affects. As you may have or may not have decided, this can also be a potential hazard to our health. It's bad for our health since herbicide is used for pest control and it is grown into the corn, which we end up consuming. Each kernel of corn grows the bacterial protein Cry180, and this is toxic to pests, and it can also be toxic to us. Would you want to eat something that is meant to kill pests? There are other also potential problems too. Researchers affiliated with the Committee for Independent Research and Information on Genetic Engineering published their research in the International Journal of Biological Sciences. They said their data of BT corn could pose a risk to kidney and liver problems, and people can also become allergic to these new products. Monsanto, the company I mentioned earlier, did their own research on this same type of corn and reported that it was safe to eat. These are the problems that genetic modifications are causing. Whether intentional or unintentional, these need to be dealt with. Now we'll propose some possible solutions that could reduce genetically modified foods that could reduce the problems they create. So what can be done about this increasing problem? The United States genetically modified foods are regulated by 3 different agencies. There's EPA, which sees if it is environmentally safe, the USDA, which sees if it's safe to grow, and the FDA, which in the end sees if the food is safe to eat. The Board of E-Whitman says the United States regulatory process is confused because these 3 agencies all have different sets or different jurisdiction over these plants. There could be 2 ways to better regulate GMF. According to nonprofit organization Pew Initiative on Food and Biotechnology, no simple statute and no single federal agency govern the regulatory of agricultural biotechnological products. So my first solution would be the U.S. would create a new agency. Unlike the other agencies where they regulate other things besides genetically modified food, this new agency would focus mainly on genetically modified food. And to pay for this would be a small tax increase to cover just enough to cover the expenses. And this would be a small price to pay since it will help save our water resources and other things. Another option would have 3 agencies to put more concern into the effects of genetically modified food and also label products. The EPA, USDA, and the FDA would work together and do more extensive research to ensure that genetically modified foods are safe to eat and grow. There would also be the mandatory labeling that would have to go on all genetically modified food products. And this labeling would allow us as a consumer to know to buy. This labeling allows us to know that what products have genetically modified food in them. While both of these options would be more effective if both were put into effect, it would be difficult to finance. So even one of these both solutions could help reduce the negative effects that these cause. Now I'm not here to get rid of entirely of genetically modified food, but only to have it more regulated and make sure it is safe before it is grown and eaten. As Leonard Giannessi said, agricultural biotechnology is here to stay. And I agree with this statement since this technology helps products to be more resistant to pests and thus more crop, causing it to become cheaper to buy for poorer families. But these are the problems associated with. There are also problems associated with this too, as I have just explained. It's hurting our environment and could be hazardous to our health. So ask yourselves, should there be more problems created just to solve a few? Thank you.